All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA Show, Mastering Self-Confidence. And what I'm going to get into today is basically advice regarding YouTube. Because one is I'm obsessed with watching YouTube, I'm not going to lie. But it's mainly informative type things. But also creating my own YouTube page, which I thought I only had it up for 8 or 9 months. And I guess I'm going on 2 years, which absolutely blew me away. And I didn't even realize how many videos I had up there. I'm not somebody who gets obsessed with analytics, which is a weakness of mine. But I was, really thinking about YouTube lately. And here's the deal, for one. You really have no control over YouTube, at least from what I see, no matter what anybody tells you. So that's just a heads up. I don't care how you set it up. What type of videos you put in, sometimes where they're being shown. I don't, if you know anything about anything regarding me, I don't trust anything. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I love everybody, and I shouldn't say I don't, it's different. Especially when you're online and when things are out of your control, like YouTube, say, even my podcast, technology like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, I don't have control over that. As much as I think I do, I don't, okay? And I don't think you do either. Maybe if you work for them, you may have more control or you know more about them. But for the outsider, I don't think we know what the fuck's going on. That's just my opinion. But what I was thinking about today after watching YouTube for so many years and then having my own YouTube page, what I'm finding quite interesting now is a shift going on, and that shift being how many openings there are for people that were nobodies, okay, which I love that aspect of it. Interesting people having a platform, and I guess you've always had that on YouTube. But what I'm finding more interesting now is also me being interested in a lot of different things where I think I can mainly speak for myself, and I think a lot of guys, I should say, out there, where when we'd watch a lot of things, it was kind of, say, if you're a dude, you like sports, you're only watching sports, right? Sport things, and then specific sports. Or say you like cigars, hypothetically, you're watching videos on that. If you like travel, that. Now, there's so many different platforms that are very, I guess you could say, exclusive or specific, which I love. Right? It could be even fitness. So I ended up putting up a bunch of fitness videos, but I kept seeing everybody, for instance, talking about fitness from almost a scientific point of view, being way over people's heads when they were talking about things, which works. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people like that aspect of it. But I said, you know what, for the average Joe out there who's either beginning or has quit or, who's not that obsessed with every aspect of how your body responds, who just wants to look decent, feel good, give them that type of information. So what I'm trying to do with my podcast and my YouTube is take things and make them, simplify them, but take a 100% honest approach at it on the way I think a lot of people think. So back to working out, a lot of people just want to know, how can I get in there a few days a week? Like I just said, what type of workouts are going to work for me? What's going to make me not quit? How do I protect myself from an injury? And how can I stick with this for as long as I can? And I'm not going to eat perfectly. I'm just going to I'm not going to diet. I'm not going to be extreme, okay? And me kind of looking at it from that perspective was a big eye-opener for me. But now that I'm looking at something else, and this is going to be related to how I'm seeing people that I used to follow that nobody watched that are starting to get a lot more subscribers and a lot more views, a lot more likes, obviously, a lot more comments. And that is becoming very relevant for the day. When I originally was putting up videos on YouTube, I wanted to make them kind of timeless to a certain degree. So if I was talking about something, I wanted you to be able to watch it now or say 10 years down the line. It could be informative stuff, or it could be a video on my favorite Italian restaurant. I didn't even want you to know what time period it was, like if you watched it, like maybe if I got somebody in the shot that from a fashion sense or me, but I kind of dress where, my style's kind of, I'm not going to say it's vintage, but I do wear vintage clothes, but I wanted you to just be able to watch the video and not be kind of stuck in one time period. Like, this is 2019 December. And then, even though you could see when I uploaded it, my content, I didn't want to be ever kind of, I guess you could say, outdated, like I said earlier. But now I'm thinking, I think a lot of people are building followers or building up a YouTube because they're being very specific on what is going on at this point in time and also what to look forward to. So if you're doing something on YouTube, I think, pay attention to this. Because I think what's most important right now about watching your videos is what's coming up next, right? And how did I explain this to my girlfriend? We just had coffee at a Colombian coffee house. And I was talking about, like, people a lot of times are interested. Obviously, you could be talking about one subject, which is great. Say you're talking about, like, God, what did I use for an example? That one's not too good. I don't like that example. But something I was talking about saying, let's put it this way. If you are talking, I'm going to actually bring this up to somebody I know. Say they are in real estate, right? And you want to sell real estate. So you put up videos of your homes, a home that you want to sell or a piece of land for that time period. That's great, okay? But I think maybe if somebody's going to go real estate, they might consider saying, hey, you know what, let me be very current, and not only current now, but looking forward to what I'm going to do next. Because if you miss out next, you're going to miss out on maybe something that's very important. So say now I'm a realtor and I go, you know what, I'm going to start putting up videos daily of what popped up brand new, say in the housing market. I look at the video and I go, oh my God, I'm looking at this video, and this guy's talking about this house that just popped up 6 hours ago. What's the strengths? What's the weakness? Why is it a good deal? And all this. And then he said at the end of his video, tomorrow I'm going to be, I did some research, and I'm going to give you the best piece of land in this area that's for sale. And then he's off. And then the next day, everybody's got to be like, holy shit, I want to check that out. That's just kind of a quick example. But again, being relevant now and also kind of feeding into building up that following and being very structured to where you want people to make sure they keep coming back to your channel. I know a lot of times people are like, hey, subscribe, and then you'll get all my notifications. That's cool because, a lot of times when you do go to YouTube, you see their notifications, it pops up or you see it, and sometimes you click on it, sometimes you don't. I think what you really need to build is something saying, I need to go back there. Not only do I need to be notified, but man, you're thinking about it. Okay, if you watch a lot of the best guys who are talking about sports, let's say, they're always building up these followings because there's always a new game. There's always something new to talk about. And if you don't kind of listen to them, you kind of miss out on it. And I think if people are starting a YouTube page, you have to think the same way. So that was just something I wanted to kind of incorporate into this podcast is really, if I was to start all over too regarding a YouTube, you really should consider not picking a specific subject unless you're a professional in that industry and that's what you want to do for a long period of time. I would start, and I had another discussion with someone today regarding this, just be yourself at the beginning and try multiple different things. Don't box yourself into one thing. Even if you like cars, right, to a certain degree, you can have it about cars, but I wouldn't get locked in and just say, hey, I'm only about vintage cars, or hey, I'm only about Ferraris, or you at the beginning, I think, trying multiple different things because you don't know how people are going to relate to you or the type of videos they're going to follow you. So you may be talking about maybe foreign cars work better for you. You're going to get a bigger following, maybe American cars. Maybe you like motorcycles too. You want to incorporate that. Maybe, it could be just about engines, hypothetically, a video. The next one could be about tires. Whatever the case may be, I think just boxing yourself in and just being almost too specific is a killer. So that's another one. I could go on and on and on, but I just thought I would just kind of do this because this is what I've learned over time. But I'm going to start or need to create videos, not just content that, I do a lot of fitness videos. And I get that I want those to be, where people can watch them now and 10 years down the line, for sure. But I do want to start creating content that, like I said earlier, that's very, unique for this point in time today. And what's going to hopefully, I'm going to give them information tomorrow on what I foresee, what's going on, and not just kind of just doing a video to do a video a lot of times. So I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, my YouTube channel is just my name, Rich CELENZA, and I'd recommend a lot of people to do the same. I wouldn't get caught sometimes making it about your business name or something else because, like I said, people most likely are going to follow you. I'm not saying they won't follow your business, but for the most part, the relationship that I like to make, and I think a lot of people like when it comes to watching YouTube, as far as content is what I should say, personal content is what I should also say, they're going to relate to you. And having it built around you is going to be, I think, the strongest component. When you build something around another name, or I'm not saying a gimmick or whatever the case may be, people may not find you or they'll forget and all that type of shit. So I definitely would, if you're going to start your own YouTube, you may consider, especially if you're not a well-known name, I would gear it around your name because that's what people are going to Google as well. So I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can find me through richcelenza.com. You got any questions, comments, you can reach me at any time. All right? Take care, and I hope this helped.